Greetings! Mantaray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm gonna be making one for is a premium formats, Dimension Police, New Era Beast Zeal with cards from D-PV01 History Collection. Alrighty, then let's get started. And here we are in the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s of this deck, we are playing 1 Grade 0 Larva Beast Zeal. The Grade 0 Larva Beast Zeal starting unit. Skills for skill auto. When a card named Eye of Destruction Zeal rides this unit, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Search up to 1 card named Galactic Beast Zeal or Devour Planet Zeal from among them. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto. When a Dimension Police other than a card named Eye of Destruction Zeal rides this unit, you may call this card to rearguard circle. So for Larva Beast Zeal, it's the starting unit of this deck. If it skills the first skill, as long as you've managed to write Eye of Destruction Zeal on top of it, you can then have the chance to either search your deck for Galactic Beast Zeal or Devour Planet Zeal to write with later when it's time to go to Grade 2 or Grade 3. And the second skill, if you choose to write any other Dimension Police card other than Eye of Destruction Zeal on top of Larva Beast Zeal, you have the opportunity to move Larva Beast Zeal from your soul to the rear guard to serve as a potential attacker for the front row or booster for the back row. And with that, which is about cover the deck's Grade 0 lineup, now let's get on to the Grade 1 lineup. And now for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 1 Eye of Destruction Zeal, 4 Grade 1 Eternity Chaser, and 2 Grade 1 Cosmic Hero Grand Rope. The Grade 1 Eye of Destruction Zeal. Skill, auto, as a Vanguard or Rearguard. When placed, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Grade 2 or greater card of Zeal in this card name from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. This ability may be only used by a card of the same card name as once per turn. So if Eye of Destruction, he's one of the main great ones to be played in this deck, especially for the Zeal series. With its skill, just by riding it or calling it, you have the chance to check the top cards of your deck for either a Grade 2 or Grade 3 high or higher Zeal card to add to your hand to help in your later game strategy. The Grade 1 Eternity Chaser. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is rolled upon, cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, choose up to 1 Grade 3 normal unit from your hand and reveal it. If you reveal the card, search your deck for up to 1 Grade 3 of a different card name from the revealed card, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto. From the back row rearguard circle, when your opponent's rearguard attacks, if that unit's power is 25,000 power or less, cost, Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle. Look at the power, including the boost and opponent's card abilities. So for Eternity Chaser, a good card to play in your Dimension Police decks. With its skill, the first skill, when written on top of, by paying the cost, you can have the chance to search your deck for a specific Grade 3 you wish to add into your hand for your later game strategy. And the second skill, whenever your opponent's rearguard attacks your Vanguard or rearguard, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met and you pay the cost, your Eternity Chaser then can serve as a potential pseudo-perfect guard against your opponent's rearguard attacks. The Grade 1 Cosmic Hero Grand Rope. Skills, first skill, continuous as a rearguard. During your turn, if you have a Grade 3 or greater unit, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And second skill, auto as a Vanguard or rearguard. When placed from hand, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Grade 3 from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If you put a card into your hand, discard a card from your hand. So for Grand Rope, a pretty good card to play in your Dimension Police decks. With skills, the first skill, as long as the conditions to the first skill are met, your Grand Rope then can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for the front row or a 13,000 point booster for the back row. And the second skill, Auto, as a Vanguard or Rear Guard. When placed from hand to on either your Vanguard circle or Rear Guard circle, you have the chance to search the top cards of your deck for a grade 3 to add to your hand for a litigant strategy. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 1 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's grade 2 lineup. And now for the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 2s in this deck, we are playing 4 grade 2 Devour of Planets Zeal, 4 grade 2 Endless Float, and 3 grade 2 Toxic Monster Gel Sludge. The grade 2 Devour of Planets Zeal. Skills for skill, action as a Vanguard Rear Guard once per turn. Cost, counterblast 1 and rest 2 rear guards. If the cost is paid, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and it gets minus 5,000 power until end of turn. If you have an Eye of Destruction Zeal in your soul, draw a card. And second skill, Auto, when rolled upon by a grade 3, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and it gets minus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Devour Planet Zeal, another support card for the Zeal series. With its skills, the first skill, as either a Vanguard or Rear Guard, as long as you can pay the cost, not only do you get to reduce your opponent's Vanguard's power, but also if you meet the conditions of the first skill, you can also draw more cards. And the second skill, just by riding a grade 3 on top of Devour Planet Zeal, you have the chance to also reduce your opponent's Vanguard's power, thus making it easier to land attacks and pressure finish off your opponent with. The grade 2 Endless Float. Skills for skill, Auto, when this unit is rolled upon, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Then cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, call this card to Rear Guard circle. And second skill, Auto, as a Rear Guard, when this unit attacks, if your grade 3 unit was placed this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of battle. Then if at the end of the battle, cost, retire this unit, draw a card. So for Endless Float, it's another good card to play in your Dimension Police decks. With its skills, the first skill, just by riding on top of Endless Float, not only does your Vanguard get plus 10,000 power, but if you're willing to pay the cost of discard 1 card from your hand, you can Superior Call Endless Float from your soul to Rear Guard to serve as a front row attacker. Any second skill, whenever you attack with your grade 2 Rear Guard Endless Float, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, not only do you get to turn your Endless Float into a potential 15,000 point attacker for the front row, but also you can also then at the end of the turn retire your Endless Float to increase your hand by drawing more cards. Then grade 2 Toxic Monster Gel Sludge. Skill, Auto, when this unit is placed on the Vanguard or Rear Guard, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 2 or greater, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, perform one of the effects below. If it's a grade 3 or greater, perform all of the effects below instead. First effect, your opponent may counterblast 1. If they did not, you draw 1 card. Second effect, your opponent may Soul Blast 1. If they did not, you choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and it gets power minus 5,000 until end of turn. So for Gel Sludge, another good card to play your Dimension Police decks with skill, just by riding or calling Gel Sludge, by paying the cost, your opponent is then forced to choose 1 or 2 effects to play, which is either they counterblast 1 or let you draw a card, or either they Soul Blast 1 or have their Vanguard's power reduced by 5,000. And the best part is, as long as the conditions of this skill are met, it's possible to play both effects at the same time, thus forcing your opponent to give up Counterblast or Soul Blast, or to let you benefit from them being unable to. And at that, we just about covered the deck's grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on to the grade 3 lineup. And now for the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 3s of this deck, we are playing 4 grade 3 New Era Beast Zeal, 4 grade 3 Galactic Beast Zeal, and 4 grade 3 Black-clad top tier deity Brad Black. The grade 3 New Era Beast Zeal. Skills, first skill, action as a Vanguard, Legion 21,000 power, Galactic Beast Zeal. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit will return 4 cards from your drop zone into your deck once, search your deck for the specified card, and Legion. Second skill, Auto as a Vanguard, cost Counterblast 1. When a card is put into your damage zone, if this unit is in Legion, you may pay the cost. If the cost has been paid, choose one of your opponent's units and it gets power minus 1000 for each card on your Vanguard circle or Rearguard circle until end of turn. And the third skill, Auto as a Vanguard. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if your opponent has a Vanguard of 8000 power or less, Soul Charge 1 and choose a card from your damage zone and turn it face up. So for new Era Beast Zeal, he's one of the main grade 3s to ride in this deck. With its skills, the first skill, for those of you who have kept up the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game since the original series, you should be familiar with what the Legion mechanic is. As long as the conditions are met, you can then send 4 cards from your drop zone back to your deck, search your deck for the specified Legion mate. In this case, Galactic Beast Zeal, Legion it to your Vanguard. While in the Legion state, your Vanguard's power is the total sum of both your Vanguard and Legion mate's power, and you can also use the skills of your Legion mate as long as they're available to you. And the second skill, whenever you receive damage while in the Legion state, by paying the cost, you have the chance to weaken one of your opponent's remaining attackers, either their Vanguard or Rearguard, by the number of cards on your Vanguard circle or Rearguard circles, thus giving you an easier chance to survive to your next turn, making this Legion skill more or less a defensive ability. And the third skill, whenever your Vanguard attack hits a Vanguard, as long as the conditions of the skill are met, not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but you can also refund your Counter Blast for later skills. The Grade 3, Galactic Beast Zeal. Skills, first skill, Auto as a Vanguard or Rearguard. When placed from hand, look at the top card of your deck, call to Rearguard. If this unit is in the Vanguard circle, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, and it gets power minus 5000 until end of turn for each marker on your opponent's circles. And the second skill, Auto as a Vanguard, once per turn, cost, Counterblast 1 and put 1 or more Rearguards into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and until end of turn, it gets power minus 10,000. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and Devourer of Planets Zeal is in your soul, this unit gets drive plus 1 for every 2 cards put into your soul for this cost. So for Galactic Beast Zeal, he's one of the main grade 3s to ride in this deck. Its skills, the first skill, when written or called from hand, you can then reduce your opponent's Vanguard by 5000 power for each marker on their circles, thus making this a good card to use against V-series decks that specialize in having imaginary gift markers on their rear guard. And the second skill, as by paying the cost, not only do you get to reduce your opponent's Vanguard's power, but as long as the conditions of the skill are met, you can also increase your Vanguard's drive by every 2 cards put into your soul by this unit's cost, giving you more drive checks to either potentially get triggers or to simply restock your hand of more cards. And the Grade 3, Black-clad top tier DD, Brad Black. Skills, first skill, action as a Vanguard, once per turn, cost, Counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, 3 units on your front row gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Second skill, Auto as a Vanguard. At the end of the battle that attacked, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 grade 3 from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost, discard 2 cards from your hand. If the cost is paid, write a grade 3 not named Black-clad top tier DD Brad Black from your hand as a stand, and that unit gets plus 10,000 power and minus 1 drive until end of turn. So for Brad Black, it's another one of the main grade 3s to ride in this deck. Its skills, the first skill, by paying the cost, you can give your entire front row, Vanguard and Rearguard included, an extra power boost to give you more powerful attacks to help you either pressure or finish off your opponent. And the second skill, after attacking, you have the chance to search your deck for a grade 3 to add to your hand, and as long as the secondary conditions of the skill are met, by paying the cost, you can write a new grade 3 that's not Brad Black to your Vanguard, giving you another Vanguard attack to either pressure or help you finish off your opponent with. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on with the trigger lineup. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 0, Star Dragon DD Infinitude Elder Breath, Overtrigger. 4. Grade 0, Impurity Monster Dalbruber, Critical Trigger. 3. Grade 0, Quake Being Namazuro, Critical Trigger. 4. Grade 0, Diamond Ace, Draw Trigger. 2 Grade 0 Dimensional Robo Outfitter Casey Heal Trigger, and 2 Grade 3 Ultimate Salvation Combination Adam Bullion. The Grade 0 Star Dragon DD Infinitude Elder Ref Over Trigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect, double the power and critical of all of your front row units until end of turn. Increase to double its power and critical when activated. So for Elder Ref, he is the overtrigger for the Brand Gate Nation. Like any other overtrigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card. But he also features an ability unique to him alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, all of your front row units, Vanguard and Rigger included, get their power and critical double for the rest of the turn. So for Elder Ref, with its second skill, it's a good way to more or less give you a good way to pressure or finish off your opponent with the increased power and critical it provides. The Grade 0 Impurity Monster Dalbruber Critical Trigger. Skill continuous from the hand. While paying the cost for stride, this card may be discarded as a Grade 3. So for Dalbruber, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill. When you pay for the cost of stride, your Dalbruber alone can serve as a cost for the stride, thus giving you more opportunities since you don't have to pay for as many cards from your hand to pay for stride. The Grade 0 Quick Being Namazuro Critical Trigger. Skill, auto from the rear guard, Generation Break 1. When your Vanguard attacks, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, draw a card, and one of your Vanguards gets plus 10,000 power until end of battle. So for Namazuro, another powerful critical trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks with skill. Whenever your Vanguard attacks, as long as you've got Namazuro in the rear guard and the conditions of the skill are met, and if you don't mind moving Namazuro from your rear guard into your soul, not only do you get to build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but you can also draw more cards and give your Vanguard more power to work with. The Grade 0 Diamond Ace Draw Trigger Sentinel Perfect Guard. Skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards with Continuous Sentinel in a deck. Second skill, auto as a Guardian. When placed, cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, one of your units cannot be hit until end of battle. So for Diamond Ace, it's a perfect guard for the Dimension Police clan. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block an enemy attack. The Grade 0 Dimensional Robo Outfitter Casey. Heal Trigger. Skill, auto. Bind this card face up and choose another card with heal from your drop zone and bind it face up. When this card is discarded from hand for the cost of calling a G Guardian, you may pay the cost. If the cost has been paid, if you do, you may either Soul Charge 1 or Counter Charge 1. So for Casey, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks for skill. Whenever you would Generation Guard and you use her to pay for the cost, by paying the cost, you get to either build up your soul for later Soul Blast or you can refund your Counter Blast for later skills. The Grade 3 Ultimate Salvation Combination Adam Bullion Heal Trigger. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle from hand, if you did not ride a Grade 3 or greater unit during this fight, perform one of the following. First ability, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Second ability, choose one of your opponent's units and it gets -2 critical until end of battle. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard circle from hand, if your damage zone has no cards, put the top card of your deck into your damage zone. So for Adam Bullion, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skills. The first skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can choose to activate 1 or 2 abilities. The first ability is that you give your Vanguard plus 10,000 power for the remainder of the turn, thus preventing your opponent from rushing you too early by hitting you with a bunch of attacks early in the game. And the second ability, it stops your opponent from either pressuring you too early by hitting you with high critical attacks. And the second skill, when called into the rear guard while the conditions of the skill are met, you can put 1 card from your deck onto the damage zone. This way, your opponent cannot use the damage denial strategy on you. The damage denial strategy is when your opponent prevents you from using your skills by not giving you any counter blasts early in the game. With this heal trigger, Adam Bullion, you can stop the annoyance of the damage denial strategy just by calling into the rear guard. And of that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 1 over trigger, Elder Breath, 7 critical triggers, 4 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And now for the G zone. For the cards in the G zone, let's start off with the G units. For the G units in this deck, we are playing 2 Grade 4 Cosmo Winger Unibird Galaxy, 4 Grade 4 Heatwave Beast Geoma Glass, 4 Grade 4 Strongest Command Chief Final Dimax DX, and 2 Grade 4 Dark Superhuman Omega, the Grade 4 Cosmo Winger Unibird Galaxy. Skills for skill, stride, step. Cost, choose 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from your hand and discard them. If the cost is paid, stride this card on your Vanguard circle from face down. Second skill, continuous as a Vanguard. This unit gets plus 10,000 power for each card in total among your damage zone and rear guards. Third skill, burst, auto as a Vanguard once per turn. When this unit attacks, cost, turn a card from your G zone face up. If the cost is paid, if this unit's power is 50,000 or greater, until end of battle, it gets +1 critical. And if this unit's power is 100,000 power or greater, it gets drive +2. So for Unibird Galaxy, a powerful G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skills, second skill. For every card in your damage zone and rear guard, you can keep stacking 10,000 power onto your Vanguard and making it easier to potentially pressure finish off your opponent with the increased power to your Vanguard. And the third skill, just by attacking your Vanguard Unibird Galaxy and paying the cost, as long as the conditions of the third skill are met, you can also give your Vanguard +1 critical and potentially drive +2. Thus making it easier like the second skill. The third skill is a good way to pressure or finish off your opponent with the increased power, critical, and drive checks provided to your Vanguard by Unibird Galaxy's skills. The Grade 4 Heatwave Beast Geoma Glass. Skills for skill, stride, step. Cost, choose 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from your hand and discard them. If the cost is paid, strike this card on your Vanguard from face down. Second skill, continuous as a Vanguard or from the G zone. If face up, all of your grade 3s on your rear guard and guardian circle get plus 5,000 power, plus 5,000 shield and intercept. Then the third skill, auto as a Vanguard. When it attacks, cost, counterblast 1 and turn a card from your G zone face up. If the cost is paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Call 2 cards from among them to rear guard circle, shuffle your deck, and this unit gets +1 critical until end of battle for each of your grade 3 units. So for Geoma Glass, another powerful G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill, the second skill. As long as you've got a Geoma Glass face up on your Vanguard or G zone, then you can give all of your grade 3 rear guards and grade 3 guardians plus 5,000 power and plus 5,000 shield and intercept. And the best part is, this second skill is stackable. For the more face-up Geoma Glasses you have in your Vanguard and G zone, you can keep stacking 5,000 power and plus 5,000 shield to your grade 3 rear guards and guardians, giving you more power and defense to work with. And the third skill, just by attacking your Vanguard Geoma Glass by paying the cost, you have the chance to check the top 7 of your cards in your deck to call 2 new rear guards to attack or boost with. And then after calling, you can give your Vanguard +1 critical for every grade 3 rear guard in your field, thus giving you an easier chance to pressure or finish off your opponent with the increased critical to your Vanguard. The Grade 4 Strongest Command Chief Final Dimax DX. Skills for skill, stride, step. Cost, choose 1 or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from hand and discard them. If the cost is paid, strike this card in your Vanguard from face down. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard. When it attacks, cost, turn a card from your G zone face up and put all of your resting rear guards into your soul. If the cost is paid, reveal 7 cards from the top of your deck. Call up to the same number of cards as the number of face-up cards in your G zone from among them to your rear guard in the order of highest power and shuffle your deck. If you put 4 more cards into your soul for this cost, all of your units get plus 10,000 power and +1 critical until end of turn. So for Dimax DX, another powerful G unit to play in your Dimension Police decks with skill, the second skill, just by attacking your Vanguard Dimax DX and paying the cost, you can then superior call a potential number of rear guards from the top of your deck to your rear guard, and then if you meet the conditions of the third skill, you can also give all of your units, Vanguard or rear guard included, plus 10,000 power and plus 1 critical, giving you a large barrage of attacks to help you pressure or finish off your opponent with the increased power and critical. And then the grade 4, Dark Superhuman Omega, skills for skill, strike, released when both players' vanguards are grade 3 or greater, strike step. Choose one or more cards with the sum of their grades being 3 or greater from your hand, discard them. If the cost is paid, strike this card on your vanguard from face down. Second skill, auto. Cost, Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 1. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your rear guards, put it into your soul, choose all of the units on your opponent's front row, and reduce those units' power by the original power of the card put into your soul with this effect until end of turn. So for Omega, another decent card to play in your Dimension Police decks with its skill. When striding this card into your Vanguard and paying the cost, you can then have the chance to reduce your opponent's front row units, Vanguard and rear guard included, by a certain amount of power. By depending on what card you put into your soul from the rear guard for Omega's cost, you can reduce your opponent's Vanguard's power, making it easier to land your attacks to potentially pressure or finish them off with. And of that, which is about cover the deck's G units. Next, let's get on to the G Guardians. And now for the G Guardians. For the G Guardians of this deck, we are playing 2 grade 4 Great Galactic Beast Zeal and 2 grade 4 Giant Armored Beast Garagamelgos. The grade 4 Great Galactic Beast Zeal. Skills for skill, G Guardian, usable when both fighters' vanguards are grade 3 or greater, and the number of face-up G Guardians in your G zone is 3 or less. Opponent's turn, guard step, choose a card of heal from your hand and discard it. If the cost is paid, call this card to your Guardian circle from face down. Second skill, auto. Cost, Soul Blast 1. When this unit is placed on the Guardian circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's units, and it gets minus 5,000 power until end of battle. If the number of cards in your damage zone is more or equal to the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone, you may counterblast 1. If you do, choose one of your vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Great Galactic Beast Zeal, it's pretty much a Zeal G Guardian for the Dimension Police deck with skill. The second skill, just by guarding it and paying a cost of Soul Blast of 1, you get to minus your opponent's Vanguard's power by 5,000, and then if the conditions of the skill are met, you can pay an additional Counterblast of 1 to give your Vanguard plus 5,000 power, making it easier to block an upcoming attack. And the Grade 4 Giant Armored Beast Garagamelgos. Skills for skill, G Guardian, opponent's turn, guard step. Cost, discard a card of heal from your hand. If the cost is paid, call this card to your Guardian circle from face down. Second skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian circle, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose up to 2 grade 3 normal units from your drop zone, put them in your hand. This unit gets plus 5,000 shield for each card put into your hand. So for Garagamelgos, it's a powerful G Guardian to play in your Dimension Police decks with skill. The second skill, when used to guard with and paying the cost, you can take any grade 3 normal units to the drop zone to return to your hand to secure yourself new grade 3s to use your next turn, and also giving more shield for every grade 3 return to your hand by the skill. Your Garagamelgos gets plus 5,000 shield, making it easier to block your opponent's attack with Garagamelgos. And of that, we just about covered the deck's G Guardians. And of that's just all the time we have for today. First I want to say is thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. And I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And of that I say goodbye and see you all.